Generative AI tools like ChatGPT and Bard by Google have exciting potential for marketers creating content. But there's a whole other side to this equation, and it has huge implications. What if your sales prospects use generative AIs? If your sales prospects start their customer journey using a generative AI like ChatGPT or Bard by Google, how will you get your marketing message through to these people? I'm going to show you how to meet the challenge and how to drive prospects to your website where they can engage with your digital marketing. I'm going to give you all the techniques you'll need to maximize your organic reach on generative AI. Just to be clear, I'm not going to tell you how to use generative AI to create digital marketing content. I'm going to focus entirely on how to get customers to notice your marketing if they are using generative AI. Your prospects are not always going to go straight to your website from a search result or social media post like they did in the past. The customer journey may start with a generative AI. Generative AIs offer a new path that prospects might take on their way to becoming your customer. The knowledge I'm going to share with you is based on rigorous testing across lots of industries. When we're done, I hope you'll completely change the way you think about digital marketing in the age of generative AI. Please subscribe to the Mondo Player YouTube channel so you can keep getting our latest videos. It's also a great way to encourage us to create more videos. So let's start with a quick look at how generative AI fits into the digital marketing landscape. Generative AI is just an interface between a user and information. Generative AI works differently than a search engine or social media, but what it does is similar. It gives people access to information by interpreting data and presenting the data in an organized way. But the key difference with generative AI is that it gathers data from all kinds of sources and combines the information in a way that marketers can't directly control. A good way to think about how AI works is to think of it in terms of cooking a meal. The AI gathers raw ingredients and blends them together using its own recipe, an algorithm. The raw ingredients used by the generative AI to formulate the response your customer gets may be unrecognizable in the response that is cooked up by the AI. A prospect using a generative AI to research a product will have a very difficult time knowing how the answer they got was prepared by the AI. The source of the information will be anonymous. This is a huge problem for marketers who want to get attention for a specific product. Being anonymous isn't something most companies want when they're trying to reach a target market. A search engine or social media service doesn't hide the source of the information it presents to users. Marketers who are used to working with search and social will find that generative AI is like a brick wall between the information created by the marketer and the target market. To succeed in this new world of generative AI, marketers need to learn some new tricks. Before we dig into those techniques, I want to draw your attention to the similarities between generative AI, search engines, and social media. They all have an end user, and they all give the end user information that previously existed. Generative AI doesn't create results by making up new information. A search engine doesn't invent links, and a social media service doesn't invent posts. All of these systems rely on somebody else creating the original content. Generative AIs are trained by looking at original content from websites like yours, and then processing the information through their algorithms. Generative AIs need original content created by humans to build a large language model. And they need a user to ask a question. There are people on both ends. People creating original content and people asking questions. The generative AI is just a machine in the middle. Search engines, social media, and generative AIs are all black boxes. They function in a very non-transparent way. The algorithms used by search engines, social media, and generative AI to deliver information are not open to the public. We can guess at how they work or run tests to see what makes them tick. And sometimes the providers of these services will give us a few clues. But none of these services will give you a roadmap to getting your information ranked at the top of the pile. The rules these services use to generate their output are so complex that no one can know exactly what they will produce in every case on any given day. Today, we are focusing on generative AI and how it affects digital marketing. I'm going to share a unique insight as a result of our work creating machine learning systems and our extensive analysis of the generative AIs currently available on the market. I'm going to give you a comprehensive strategy to succeed with your digital marketing when your prospects use generative AI. And I'm going to offer some best practice for ensuring your message has a chance of getting through to your target market. Think of the strategies you'll learn today as a way to fortify your digital marketing against generative AI. I'll show you ways you can whisper in the ear of the AI to get your message across to the users of these services. And I'm going to show you how to anticipate the questions your ideal audience will ask when they use an AI. We're going to explore how you can provoke the users of an AI to interact with your business in a way that might lead to a sale. The goal for you is to influence the AI, so you can be a ghostwriter behind the AI. You want to be the person who provides the information the AI passes to its users, and you want to lead these users to action that will lead to a sale. Generative AI rarely gives credit to the source or provides a link to your site. The tendency for generative AI to plagiarize original work presents a unique challenge for marketers. If you're selling a product and you want people to discover that you exist, come to your site, and make a purchase, the generative AI can be both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, a user researching a product category you sell will get a lot of information from the AI, but they will probably not learn about your product or be directed to your website. Don't get me wrong, it's great that AIs can give people useful information. But what's in it for you? How are you going to get traffic if your prospective customers are happily chatting with an AI that doesn't give you any credit for the content you provided? Generative AI could act as a digital brick wall that blocks your market from learning about you and your website. Overcoming this obstacle will require a new skill set. Some of the skills I'm going to share with you here are similar to search engine optimization, but there are some key differences you'll need to consider. The reality is that generative AI has created a whole new playing field. The rules for content marketing have changed. Creating successful content for digital marketing in the era of AI requires a forensic awareness of how generative AI will treat your hard work and how you can game the system. You'll need to know how your content will be used by generative AIs, how your intended audience will see this information, and how you can drive traffic to your site where you can convert prospects to sale. So let's start with the AI itself. When an AI discovers your content, it decides whether the content can be trusted. Trust in the world of search engine marketing and trust in generative AI have many similarities. But the stakes are much higher with generative AI. While it's best to be the number one link in a search result, it's not the end of the world if you're number 2, number 3, or 4. You're still potentially visible to the customer even when you're not number 1. But a generative AI makes the choices for the customer. It makes a choice with each word or phrase it displays as it produces an answer. In each instance, the AI only picks one word or phrase when it decides what to say next. In other words, you're either number 1 in the eyes of the generative AI or you don't exist. To be clear, this is a slight oversimplification. The AI often chooses information from multiple sources, and it doesn't just copy and paste the information. It blends it together into a response. The generative AI will not include your information in response if your content isn't highly trusted. Also, don't be fooled by words like intelligence and trust in the context of artificial intelligence. Intelligence and trust are concepts we humans find easy to understand, but machines are not human, so they mimic these qualities using algorithms. If you know the rules the AI's algorithms use to decide what to trust, you're well on your way to controlling the response. In effect, you can whisper in the ear of the AI. These are 9 ways for you to increase the trustworthiness of your content that an AI algorithm can easily measure. If you do these things, you're more likely to signal the AI that you're a trusted source for a piece of information. Backlinks. You should do everything you can to get backlinks from highly trusted and respected sources, such as high-profile publications in your field, highly respected websites, respected academics, or influencers. The quality of these links will matter much more than the quantity. Aggressive backlink strategies won't impress a generative AI. Trust in this environment is not easily earned. Site authority. The more content you have on your website about the subject you want to dominate, and the more backlinks you have to this content, the more site authority you'll have, and this will translate into trust. Referring links to authorities supporting the information on your web pages. The more you support your arguments in the content you produce, the more credible it will seem, as long as the sources you're citing are credible and trusted. Taboo subjects. Avoid subjects or opinions that are controversial. Generative AIs will censor your content if it falls outside accepted norms. This may not be appealing to those who value free speech, but it's a fact of life. Untrustworthy sources. Avoid links to untrustworthy sources. You can easily cause your content to be eliminated from consideration if the sources you reference are controversial. Popularity. The AI will look at the number of shares, views, and likes your content attracts. If the generative AI is part of a search engine like Google or Bing, the AI will measure landings, your bounce rate, and the time users spend on your pages. These factors will contribute to a picture of the relevance and trustworthiness of your content. Relevant keywords. Use keywords related to the website's content in meta tags, page titles, and descriptions in the same way you would to increase SEO. To an AI, relevance is an indication of trust. Regular updates. Keep your content current. Old information is deemed less trustworthy. Optimize your site. The web crawlers used by generative AIs consider all the metrics a normal search crawler recognizes, so make sure your site loads quickly and is mobile friendly. Do you remember how I warned you not to treat the AI as a human? Well, maybe I spoke too soon. AIs and humans do have one thing in common. Like humans, the AI has a job to do, and sometimes the AI is going to take the easiest path. You could say machine intelligence can be lazy. Generative AI tools may seem very impressive, but behind the scenes, they face a daily grind, just like us humans. If you can make the AI's job easier, your content is more likely to drive the agenda. There are 7 things you can do to make your content more AI-friendly. Own the zone. Generative AIs have a big challenge. Each time a user asks a question, the AI needs to stitch together an answer. So if you're the predominant authority on a subject, you can become the gold standard on that subject in the eyes of the AI. Be clear. Use well-constructed, simple sentences with clear language and well-expressed thoughts. Use clear paragraphs that stick to a theme. Good grammar is essential. Don't make it difficult for the AI. These systems are amazing, but they're not mind readers, and they can easily make really dumb mistakes if you make it difficult to interpret the information you're providing. Long-form content with plenty of supporting information. The more you articulate and explore a subject, the more likely the AI will stumble over something it can use. Schema. Content that's been properly marked up with metadata and markup language like schema will perform the best. The AI needs clues about the structure of the information you're providing. Schema is very important, and we'll be covering it in more detail a little later. Make sure your website is properly indexed, so the date and time of posts is easy to find. Double check that you have registered your website sitemap with all the search engines and you have included a robots.txt file. A surprising number of sites do a bad job of this. The AI will want to know how fresh your data is and whether it's being updated. Own your niche. As with search engine marketing, it's going to be difficult to establish your authority if you pick topics that are too general. Focus on niches where you can be the authority, have a unique value proposition, and be easy to find by users asking the right questions. Be original. You may be inclined to use generative AI to create your content. That's okay to a point. But AIs and search engines have mechanisms to detect content created by AIs. Your content will be blocked from consideration by the AI if it's not original. You can use an AI for your research, but make sure you turn this into content that's original. Don't copy and paste huge chunks of AI-generated content without significantly editing it. These are just a few ways you can make the content pass the smell test. Add a human touch. Make reference to feelings, impressions, or opinions. A generative AI is lacking in creativity and emotion. Use personal pronouns like I or we. Use superlatives. When you're describing something, use words that exaggerate or amplify a point, like absolutely wonderful or incredibly bad. AI-generated content is generally impersonal and boring. Most of us were taught to use the third person when we write for business. But if you want to pass the test used to catch AI-generated content, you should definitely get personal. Your humanity is an extra special asset in this new world of AIs. As the old saying goes, it takes one to know one. AIs will know when you've been lazy and just copied information rather than putting it in your own words. Now, let's take a step back and imagine what it's like for a person using a generative AI to research a topic. A typical prospective customer is going to type a question into the AI as they research the product or service you're selling. The activity is going to happen inside the generative AI app. Unlike on a search engine or social media, your prospective customer won't be seeing links and won't be clicking through to your website. You won't get the usual signals you get from search engines and social media when a prospect lands on a web page. When a prospect sees a link on a search engine result or in a social media post, they signal their interest by clicking on a link. You'll know your content was successful in a search result or social post by measuring the click-through rate, bounce rate, and dwell time on your site. A prospect who uses a generative AI won't see a link to your site in most cases and won't click through to your site, so you won't have a click to measure. It's like a tree falling in the woods with no one to hear it. The AI will give the prospect all the information he or she needs and you won't know anything. So you need strategies for anticipating your audience's questions, because the AI won't give you clues about what queries your users are typing inside the AI. Survey prospects. Talk to your prospects and listen to what they ask about. You won't get a chance to see what prospects ask the AI, so you'll need to do your own market research. If you anticipate the needs of your market with the content you create, you'll have a better chance of being in the conversation between the prospect and the AI. Look at your logs. Examine your web logs to see what makes your prospects engage. Just as search engines measure click-through rates, generative AIs will prioritize content that is addictive and generates more actions by prospects. If your content is more engaging, the AI will be likely to use it. While generative AIs offer lots of exciting possibilities, they are going to present a challenge for anyone who relies on organic reach in their marketing. Generative AIs are like a digital black hole for the prospect's experience. Prospects will go into the AI and they won't easily come out. If a prospect does a search on a search engine, it's inevitable they will click on a link, exit the search engine, and land on a website. Search engines are highly connective. They give you a snippet of information and then you have to click through to the website to see the rest. But a generative AI grabs information from your website and assembles the information into a comprehensive answer. The prospect gets a complete answer to their question, so they have no reason to leave the AI and come to your site. What you really need to do is somehow give that prospect an incentive to take action within the answer the AI provides to the prospect. If you're thinking this is a tall order, you're right. Generative AIs present a unique challenge for digital marketers who want the prospect to ultimately go to a website where they can buy something. There's no easy way to engage the potential customer if the AI is providing the answer to the customer's question. Generative AIs depend on the information they gather from websites. It's the food that makes it possible for them to exist. This is an evolving technology, and in the future, we think AI tools will come under pressure to supply some links. But even when generative AIs provide links, the links won't be the first thing people see when an answer is generated by the AI. It's likely this will result in lower organic click-through rates. These are early days in the evolution of generative AI, so there's a lot of speculation about its impact. A lot will change in the future. This isn't the end of the world as we know it. But as digital marketers, we need to be agile and adapt to this changing landscape. So far, we've covered ways to ensure the AI will trust your content, will be able to easily incorporate your content in its answers, and how you can anticipate the questions your prospects ask. But none of this is going to advance your cause if the prospective client reads the answer provided by the generative AI and never comes to your site to buy your product or service. You need to get noticed. You need the AI to credit your product or service in the answer it gives. You can't just hope the user will ask the AI to give credit to its sources. Remember, the answer an AI gives may be the result of information it harvests from dozens or hundreds of websites. This information will generally be munched up by the AI in an answer that is presented to the prospect without giving credit to the hardworking organizations that provided the information. You need to stand out. You need to get your message through this black hole of AI to the parallel universe of prospects on the other side. Unlike search results, AIs extract excerpts of your content and mix them up with content harvested from other sources. In some cases, the AI will only take ideas you present on your site and will completely restate them in its own words. The only way you'll reliably get credit and drive traffic to your website is if you can trick the AI into giving the prospect a clue about your existence. You're hoping the AI will embed information in its answer that will lead prospects to your website. Before I go on, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the Mondo Player YouTube channel so you can keep getting our latest videos. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm, and it makes us feel great when we know you're getting value from these videos. So here are a few techniques you should consider. Branding. Your brand is something you hope the AI will include in its answer. As you write web copy and blog posts, it's more important than ever to mention your brand in the body of the text on each page. You can't simply rely on your brand appearing on a page header or in a logo. You need to weave your brand into your web copy so the AI is more likely to gobble it up and pass it on as part of an answer to a user's question. For example, if the user of a generative AI asks for a list of all the brands offering a particular product or service you sell, you don't want to make it difficult for the AI to associate your brand with a specific capability or feature you support. Terms of service. Make sure you have a Terms of Service page on your website and the page is clearly labeled as Terms of Service. Then, make sure you include wording that very clearly stipulates that anyone using information from your site must mention your brand and include a backlink to your website. I'm going to give you an example of Terms of Service wording you should consider including. Ironically, I generated the wording using ChatGPT. You'll find the wording in the description of this video. This isn't intended as legal advice, so please consult your lawyer. Don't assume that wording in your terms of service is going to fix everything. It probably won't work most of the time. Generative AI systems use a language model that is trained with input from websites like yours. They do not attribute everything they learn to its source. This is what ChatGPT said when I asked, how much information does ChatGPT extract from a website before it will give a backlink to my website? ChatGPT as a language model does not extract information from websites. It does not provide backlinks to websites. ChatGPT may provide information about the website if it is relevant to the question being asked. In other words, ChatGPT will take as much as it likes from your website, and you can expect absolutely nothing in return. If you have a clear terms of service that prohibits sharing without credit, it will only work in very limited cases. For example, at some point in your life, you probably learned the name of the popular French dish called beef bourguignon. But you don't refer to the person who first taught you that phrase each time you mention beef bourguignon. But if you cook beef bourguignon for your friends and you specifically use Julia Child's recipe, you might give her credit. A generative AI might credit your source of information if it shares a large section of unaltered text directly, but this won't happen very often. Language models used by generative AIs are designed to read lots of recipes for beef bourguignon and churn out their own version without giving credit to any one source. So I recommend you have a terms of service clause covering this possibility, but don't hold your breath. You probably won't get very far with this strategy. Reviews. If the AI is producing a summary of products or services in your market for people who ask for a list, you want the AI to have an easy time finding product reviews. You should encourage your customers to do product reviews of your product on third-party sites using your brand name. Product reviews will more likely result in the prospect eventually coming to your website where they can buy what you're selling. But this will only work if the prospect asks the AI for a summary of products in your market and your product is included, or if the prospect specifically asks for a review of your product by name. Quotes. Anytime a quote from a third party appears on your site, there's a chance the AI will copy the whole quote. Quotes are more likely to avoid being munched up by the AI's algorithm. If the quote is useful in answering a question and it appears on your site in quotation marks, there's a chance you might actually get some or all of the quote mentioned in the output the AI generates. Unique selling propositions. If you highlight an advancement or aspect of your product or service that no other competitor offers, it might cause the prospect to look for your product in a subsequent Google or Bing search. Unique features of your product or service could cause the AI to embed phrases or keywords that a prospect might search for that would lead them to you. For example, the name of a special feature. You want the AI to create an appetite for the special feature that only you can provide. If the prospect is asking the AI for a list of features they should consider, you're hoping the AI will include your unique feature in this list. This may lead a prospective customer to do a web search asking for sellers in their market who offer the special feature you sell. Questions and answers. Use a markup language called Schema on your web pages and make heavy use of the question and answer feature in Schema. If you're not familiar with Schema, I've included a link in the description of this video to schema.org. But even if you haven't used Schema before, you've probably noticed the snippets in search results when you ask a question. The search engine will often pluck answers to your question directly from web pages that have used Schema. Generative AIs rely heavily on these marked up elements if they coincide very clearly with a question asked by your potential customer. So make sure you've anticipated as many questions as possible and give answers that incorporate some of the other techniques I've discussed in this video. Don't give everything away for free. We've spent a lot of time discussing ways to get noticed by generative AIs and how to attract an audience who encounters parts of your message on these AIs. But there may be instances when you don't want information shared by AIs. For example, you may be the only source of a valuable piece of information, and you may only want to allow people to see this information if they actually come to your website. There are 3 ways you can force the AI to provide a link back to your website. These techniques are not guaranteed to work, but they're your only options at the time we produce this video. The nuclear option. You can block web crawlers from accessing specific pages on your site. Warning, this is a bit tricky and not a very good idea for most applications. You can edit the robots.txt file associated with your website and disallow pages you don't want crawled. Unfortunately, at the time I'm recording this video, generative AIs like ChatGPT and Bard do not publish the user agent they use when they crawl your site. So there is no way to only block specific AIs while allowing normal search engines to index the content. So it's all or nothing. Either you block all web crawlers, including Google and Bing and other search engines, from crawling your web page, or this technique won't work. It's important to remember that the use of robots.txt is a practice respected by legitimate search engines. It's possible this practice will change in the coming years as the web community demands AIs be treated differently than search engines. But for now, you either block all crawlers or none. If this sounds like gobbledygook, don't worry. There are lots of resources available to help you set this up. I've added links to some of these resources in the description of this video. But it's important to always remember that your website is an open book to a generative AI. If there are aspects of your site that you only want to be discovered by people who come to your site, you'll have to take steps to block them from the AI. Videos. Because generative AIs use a large language model to process the information they read on your website, they're looking for text. Videos that are hosted on services like Vimeo or Wistia and are embedded on your site can't be easily processed by the AI. They are effectively invisible to the AI. If you include a question in text on your page and the answer to that question is embedded in a video embedded on that web page, the AI won't be able to see the answer. The AI may refer to the video on your site and provide a link to the video, which will potentially drive traffic to your site. But you'll be certain the information will be hidden from the AI. If you have a unique solution the AI can't find anywhere else, using a text question with an embedded video answer is a solution. But keep in mind, there are several significant limitations to this technique. This method will hide information from the AI, but it won't guarantee a backlink to your site. Using our earlier example of beef bourguignon, if the AI finds the recipe for beef bourguignon in text format on another website, your video demonstration of how to cook it will be overlooked. So this technique will only work if no one else has posted the information contained in your video. A link to your video also won't show up if the AI concludes the answer isn't relevant. And this method won't work if you put your video on YouTube because Google owns YouTube. It's highly likely Google trains Bard on transcripts of YouTube videos. That's why this will only work if you host the videos yourself or use other services like Vimeo or Wistia. Tell the generative AI to leave your content alone. While this feature wasn't available at the time we wrote and recorded this video, it seems likely that generative AIs will be forced by some governments to offer an opt-out option. Many governments and organizations are expressing copyright concerns about the information used to train AIs. It's likely AI services like ChatGPT and Bard will be forced to provide an option in the future where you can identify yourself as the owner of a site and exclude specific content. But unless this feature becomes available, your ability to limit access to information you publish is going to be limited. one method definitely won't work. You may think that words embedded in images on your web pages are invisible to the AI. You may think you can outsmart the AI by putting your text inside an image to hide the information from the AI. This probably won't work because search engines already have the ability to use optical character recognition on the images in your page, so generative AIs likely have this capability too. As you can see, the options for hiding your hard work from being gobbled up by a generative AI are extremely poor. This fact alone reinforces the need to do all of the things I've already covered in this webinar, because your exposure to AI is something you can't easily stop. So let's have a very quick overview before we move on. AIs will be a challenge for anyone trying to deliver a clear message to a specific audience in the hope of getting a click. Unlike search engines and social media, where your content is linked to your site, where you control the whole message, generative AIs pass on fragments of your content without a backlink. I like to think of this new kind of marketing like old-school word-of-mouth advertising. Your hope is to have enough information get through to the target market to provoke a subsequent action, like a search. Your best hope is that the AI will pass on your brand name, mention a special feature that distinguishes your product, or a link to a video. I know what some of you may be thinking. You might think, hey, let's ask an AI for help with this problem. Will the AI show us the way to market our product or service? So let's see what ChatGPT has to say. For this example, let's pretend we're in the business of selling barbecues. We want to get a sense of the questions someone might ask an AI about barbecues when they're in the buying process. If we know what people ask when they buy barbecues, we should be able to design content on our website that will address these questions, and maybe will influence what the AI says when users ask these questions. Our team tried several queries, so you can judge the quality of the response for yourself. Firstly, we asked ChatGPT, what questions do people ask when they shop for a barbecue online? This was a deliberately simple question just to see if the AI understood the nature of the problem. The AI replied in a way that made sense. The reply used proper grammar and was technically correct. But as we look more closely at the response, you'll see that it was pretty useless if you were trying to figure out the real questions people might ask when they are shopping online. This is what ChatGPT said. As you can see, the questions ChatGPT produced were obviously collected from the FAQ sections and feature descriptions from websites that sell barbecues. There was no thought behind the AI's response. The AI didn't understand that I was asking a more nuanced question. The AI's response was basically just a copy and paste job from the FAQ pages and feature lists of barbecue websites, and the AI made it into questions. For the most part, the questions didn't reflect the sorts of keyword searches people use when they are actually shopping online for a barbecue. I would have expected questions like, where can I find a barbecue in my neighborhood? Where can I buy a barbecue made by brand X? What are the prices for brand X barbecues? Product reviews for barbecues. The fact that the price, brand, product reviews, and location questions were completely overlooked was troubling, because these are among the most frequently searched keywords in product marketing. In a list of 20 possibilities, ChatGPT missed 100% of the most common questions people ask when they shop online. ChatGPT missed useful results because it didn't have access to information about how barbecues are marketed using digital marketing. And it didn't know what people type in search queries, even though ChatGPT is operated by Bing, a search engine company that has access to this information. The AI only used information it grabbed from public domain web pages. It simply used the large language model to restate what it read on web pages. Armed with this knowledge, we decided to throw a slow pitch to the AI in the hopes it would hit the ball out of the park. I asked ChatGPT, what questions do people tend to ask ChatGPT about barbecues? We thought, surely ChatGPT may not have access to Bing's search history data, but it must have access to the questions asked by its own users. To our disappointment, we received another list of responses that looked like they came directly from the FAQ pages of random websites. This was the answer. It's safe to say that no one is looking for cleaning tips or recipes when they're shopping online for a barbecue. Interacting with ChatGPT was like talking to an alien from another planet, who had never bought anything online and had no clue how anything is bought and sold. It was incapable of appreciating the goal. The only question we put to the AI that brought us remotely close to an answer was, what keywords do potential customers type when they search for a barbecue online? In this case, it produced this list that is more like a thesaurus than a keyword list. Maybe two of these responses were useful: the mention of brand and the phrase best barbecue. But ChatGPT completely overlooked where I could find a barbecue, product reviews, or how much barbecues should cost, which are hugely important keywords. Anyway, you get the picture. Even our team of developers with an extensive knowledge of query engineering couldn't get ChatGPT to give us better insight to what its users were typing, no matter how many different queries they tried. This was an excellent demonstration of the limits of generative AI and the challenge it presents to marketers. It didn't give us an insight into the best way to reach our prospects when they use ChatGPT to buy a barbecue. The AI was limited by the information available on barbecue websites. Barbecue websites focus mainly on questions a prospective customer might ask if he or she has already landed on the website. The FAQs on a barbecue website assume that search engines and social media will be at the top of the sales funnel. But generative AI has created a new starting point for the customer journey to begin. Large language models used by generative AIs are not able to give you insights into the customer journey. They don't provide truly useful information, like who's asking about barbecues, which keywords are they typing, and how frequently do customers ask a specific question. So now that we know an AI is not going to help, we need a better way to anticipate the questions potential buyers have on their customer journey when using generative AI. Thankfully, there is a way we can find out what people are thinking as they start their customer journey. The answer can be found in desire paths. I'm going to give you an overview on how desire paths work. But if you want to learn more, we have several other videos that cover the subject of desire paths in more detail on the Mondo Player YouTube channel. When you're finished watching this video, you should check them out. I'm going to show you how you can use desire paths to create a map of your market so you can figure out who's looking for your product or service, which questions they're asking, and how frequently. With this information, you can use the tips I've shared in this video to create content that will anticipate the questions your prospects are going to ask when they use a generative AI during their customer journey. So what is a desire path? We see desire paths in our daily lives. When people take a shortcut across the grass, they're expressing a desire to take a different route than the concrete sidewalks designed by architects. Conventional digital marketing is like a concrete sidewalk. Web pages, ads, and landing pages are pre-designed. There's no digital grass in conventional digital marketing. No way for your market to signal unexpected desires, and no way to create new pathways automatically. What we need is a way to read the mind of our market. We want to get a clear picture of the questions our target market is going to ask. At Mondo Player, we use the acronym AIM. It stands for Audience, Message, and Engagement. AIM is the way we describe the combination of audience and messages that result in engagement with your sales funnel. When you create content for your website, You want to have a clear picture of the audience asking the question, the message the audience is going to be interested in addressing, and the type of content that will lead to engagement with your sales funnel. There is no single AIM solution for every business. Each audience can find a different message engaging. A typical business has hundreds of thousands or millions of possible AIM combinations. But only 10 or 20 of these audience message engagement possibilities are going to produce reliable results. To succeed with generative AI, these AIM combinations are the ones you'll want to focus on as you build up your content. Finding AIM without machine learning is like looking for a needle in a haystack. You need a way of testing millions of potential audiences, message, and engagement combinations. You need a way to plant a lot of digital grass to get a clear picture of the desire paths for your business. If all this sounds overwhelming, don't worry, we have a solution. At Mondo Player, we've spent a decade developing a proprietary AI system that adapts to the desires of the market. We do it all for you. Mondo Player's concierge service is a complete turnkey solution. Mondo Player provides you with a constant flow of traffic and all the analytics you need so you can figure out what content to create in order to benefit from queries prospects make using generative AI. Mondo Player allows you to focus on your content and offers of engagement with the knowledge that you're targeting the right audience with the right message. Mondo Player's service also generates thousands of impressions on your ads, so you can persistently test your marketing without wasting money on paid ads as you learn what works and what doesn't. With Mondo Player, you can test hundreds of marketing messages with thousands of audiences every day without having to lift a finger. Best of all, you'll get traffic at a fraction of the cost of conventional Facebook, Instagram, Google, or YouTube ads, and you'll get market intelligence that's unparalleled in the industry. And Mondo Player goes even further. Mondo Player gathers a large dataset by testing a huge combination of audiences and messages. By eliminating tens of thousands of possibilities, Mondo Player's machine learning system focuses on the engagement options most likely to generate conversion for you. Mondo Player's proprietary AI technology makes decisions based upon the desire paths that are identified, so your best performing offers of engagement are presented to the best combinations of audience and message. You'll optimize audience, message, and engagement automatically. The knowledge you gain from having Mondo Player will inform the way you use paid advertising platforms. You'll get a much deeper understanding of the digital marketing strategies that are likely to work when you pay for ads. If you're a professional marketer or an advertising agency, Mondo Player's team can work with you to provide the solution to your clients. We even provide a white label version of our service, so you can offer Mondo Player with your in-house solutions. Mondo Player gives agencies the opportunity to create a new revenue stream by offering their clients an entirely new approach to digital marketing. Mondo Player provides agencies with unique marketing data they can use to distinguish their service and give their clients a huge competitive advantage. If you're serious about taking your digital marketing to the next level and you want to learn more about Mondo Player, book a call with one of our senior management team. This won't be a call with a salesperson. You'll get to talk directly to someone who has the expertise to help you determine whether this solution is right for you or your clients. The call is free, and the knowledge you'll gain will change the way you look at digital marketing. Don't miss the opportunity to find out about the next evolution in digital marketing and stay ahead of your competition. Book your call today. And if you'd like to keep seeing our videos, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on our next video about AI for digital marketing and how you can get the best results for your brand marketing and sales.